Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we're going to take a little bit of a garden tour here at the house, but we're going to be already thinking and dreaming of spring, summer of 2024. Yes, this is perhaps one of my favorite times of the year in the garden is because I can dream and plan and there's not much work involved, right? So we can plan about what we're going to do in next year's garden. It's the perfect time of the year to go ahead and begin making notes, both mentally and in your garden journal or even on your phone about what plants you want to add to your garden and where. Because if you're like me and you show up at a garden center like Creekside Nursery, and there are tons of beautiful plants for you to choose from, sometimes we kind of lose our mind because we just want everything. And then those plans that you're like, oh, I'll remember that. You get to the garden center and all those plans just fly out of your brain and you cannot remember what you had planned. So write them down in some shape, fashion, or form. Thought this would be fun just to walk through and let you know what I am going to be doing in my garden. But of course, if you know me, if you know Jenny, things can change really quickly, and as soon as I do see that beautiful plant, I'm like, I don't know where you're going, but we're going to find a home for you. Of course, we are standing here in one of my two shade beds here at the house. This is a nice, long, skinny flower bed that gets beautiful morning sun, but gets afternoon shade. So it is definitely a shade bed. Clearly, we are at the end of the year. Beginning of 2024, right? And this is what it looks like when all of the perennials are dormant. There are tons of perennials in here. We have been here many, many times. As my perennials grow and get bigger every year, my space for my annuals gets smaller. However, there are a handful of annuals that I will forever put in this flower bed. One, I have my two hay racks right here. Those are always annuals. Of course, right now we just have some greenery stuck in there for some interest because I get zero sun on these guys in the wintertime. And it's just not worth it. It is easier for me to go forage in the woods and grab some greenery and stick in there, and then come springtime, then I will plant them. I have done caladiums in here. They do great here. I've done like surefire begonias, angel wing begonias do great. So that's really fun. I don't have a specific plant in mind for those guys yet. Here within the flower beds, the Endless Illumination Broalia will forever be in my shade garden. This is a beautiful, low maintenance, high performing, shade loving annual, nice mounded habit, kind of like big fat star flowers on them. And Brenna is she's not supposed to be in there. She knows that. So they will be dotted through here. And typically they're going to be more on the front because in the back, the perennials pop up and there is no room to put them in the back. Also, this year, I was looking back at my notes. We're going to go with Rocapuco Purple. This is a double impatient, and that purple is a really nice, deep, deep purple. There's a whole line of the Rocapuco double impatiens. So if deep purple is not your jam, maybe you want a light purple. Then you have Wisteria. If you want to do Coral Reef, is one of my all-time favorites because it has that bright electric color. I did that last year. I'm going to switch it up just a little bit, and we're going to do purple in here as well. And I can really only do maybe just a handful of Broalia and a handful of the double impatiens because there just simply is no room due to the perennials. I do always keep this area right here is open and ready for some annuals. This is a white wedding panicle hydrangea from Southern Living. It does great here because it is more of a shade tolerant panicle hydrangea and it can handle these conditions right here quite nicely. Down here in the front, I'm going to do the Catalina Pink Terenia. It is the improved one for 2024, so it is going to go in here. I use it as a ground cover, and it'll be a mass planting. And when I say mass planting, I'll probably only need, at the most, 5. It could be 4, just depends on how I get them placed in here. But just planting, when I say a mass planting, that could be like 3 of them, right? It could be 3, it could be 30, it could be 300. It just depends on your space and what you're doing. but 5 would definitely give me full coverage right here. That Catalina pink, of course, is a nice, when you put it in the ground, it is a ground cover. If you were to put it in a container, it would trail over, but nice, big, cupped pink leaves, flowers on them that your pollinators go nuts over. And it's sun or shade, so that is just perfect. All right, we're gonna pause just for a second. We're gonna hit the cottage garden, which is most definitely a full sun bed, and we're gonna talk about what we're gonna do in there. My cameraman got called away to handle a little bit of a situation up at production. So we completely switched cameras and we're gonna continue this, just the two of us here together. All right, so we are at the cottage garden. This yet is another area that is full of perennials. You can see some of them, and some of them you can only see just some little brown areas where they are popping up with their old foliage. Tons of daylilies in here, Nephophias and Amsonia, lots of different, perennials in here. And then of course last year I added the Princess Anne. This is a David Austin rose and a standard form, so we added that. As the perennials have grown, just like in the shade garden, my area for annuals has diminished, right? But I always in here try to put a couple. I tuck in any little area that has an empty space. I love tucking them in here. One of my favorite coleuses to use in this garden because of the colors is the Color Blaze Golden Dreams. Oh my gosh, y'all. The color on that thing and how it complements the other plants in this garden is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Also, another one that I was looking back on my pictures, we've talked about this before, right? So go back and look at the pictures from your garden from years past, was Rosalita, oh gosh, what was it? Senorita Rosalita, there we go. Senorita Rosalita Cleome. It is the pink one. So Cleome, I think, is severely underused in gardens, especially the ones from Proven Winners, because they're sterile. So they're sterile, they're not gonna throw down a gazillion seeds in your yard, which is a great thing. Because traditional Cleomes would just put seeds everywhere. They had thorns, they had this weird odor. The ones from Proven Winners do not. But Senorita Rosalita, that beautiful pink in here, oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous. I had the picture and it was down here by the birdhouse, because at the base of the birdhouse, I have some liatris, which is a really fun perennial, very spiky, very purple. And then behind it, I had the Senorita Rosalita, and it was just stunning. It was gorgeous. And then every year, I will always come through right along the edges of the sidewalk and put some type of Supertunia Mini Vista. So I've done, let's see, in this one I have done, like last year I think I did Jazzberry, so that wasn't a Mini Vista. But like indigo would be gorgeous because it'd be that nice blue, which I don't have a ton of blue in here, so that would be a nice contrast to that. So those Supertunia Mini Vistas are great because they spread, but they're not out of control. So I don't want anything crazy and out of control right here next to the steps, because I have a very limited space between the steps, and then right, you can see there's a phlox there. I have an Agastaki. So I want to, it's got to be nice and tight through there. So that would be absolutely perfect with those mini vistas in there. I am turning my garden boxes into a cut flower garden. We have used these for vegetables, and as life has gotten a little bit more crazy each year, just because it's life, we weren't tending the vegetable garden like we should or what we could. And so last year I put in there some zinnias and some sunflowers just because I had some seeds. Did that, and I enjoyed those a lot more than I did the vegetables. Even though I had tomato plants and some pepper plants, like I picked the tomatoes once, and I don't know if we ever used any of the jalapenos. And so, right, as we garden, things change, and so don't fight it. There's no need to feel guilty about it or upset about it. Just change with it. So we're gonna put flowers in here, cut flowers. We're going to start in the early spring with anemones and ranunculus, and so those will go in there because of Alyssa's wedding that we're going to be hosting in end of May. We'll see how things if it works as far as time goes on that, the timing on it, but I've picked the colors of the anemones and the ranunculus to be those colors for her in the wedding. And so even if it doesn't at the same time as the wedding, you know, maybe for like pictures or showers or whatever, you know, she can use them however she wants. But then we can put more sunflowers in here. We can put cosmos and zinnias. I just absolutely love all of those. We actually started when we were at the farmer's market. We grew sunflower, like we grew cut flowers and sold them. So our roots run deep growing cut flowers. So that is nothing new for us here at Creekside. Now, walking over here, we are now entering into the beds that will go to the patio. Keep in mind, remember the forest pansy bed? We were just here the other day with Mimi getting this all nice and cleaned up. And then over here we have really very much is a full sun flower bed. This particular bed is filled with shrubs and perennials. There is no room really for any annuals to go in here because I have got it completely slammed, and then there's perennials that are asleep. They'll come back up. So no annuals go in this flower bed. This forest pansy bed is very interesting because of the sun conditions. Up here along on this side up till the rose arbor, this gets morning sun and then afternoon shade. As we progress deeper into the flower bed, it is complete shade, and then the far back corner over here gets full afternoon sun, very hot, so those are going to be our heat loving plants go over there. As with my other shade garden alongside the driveway, here I love putting those shade loving annuals, like for example, Pegasus begonia. It's a beautiful foliage plant, no flowers, but a nice presence to it. I will do shade caladiums. With the caladiums, I just kind of wait and see what we have at the nursery, and then I will grab a few and bring them in here. That Rocapuco purple, I will bring that and continue that over here. The Broalia, the endless illumination Broalia, all of those will get tucked in here. And then my sun-loving annuals, I can smatter here in the front. Now this area here in the front, because it gets morning sun and afternoon shade, this would be perfect for my begonias, whether I use the surefire begonias or the double up begonias, because we have all of them coming, and so I will get to use just, you know, a smattering here and there. But the surefires and the double ups are amazing because they can do sun or shade. I have grown them in both, and they are very adaptable to both conditions. The main difference, of course, is going to be the structure. Surefires are more upright, and your double ups are going to be more of a mounded lower habit to them. So I use them both. It just depends on the situation as to which one I want to use. Now, of course, as we come through underneath the Generous Gardener Rose Arbor, we come across to this area here in front of the rest of I have a whole collection of David Austin's right here. This area that is open underneath, that is where we put annuals. You can see that I do have some spring flowering bulbs that are, they're trying to pop up. Oh dear heavens, y'all. I actually have snowdrops blooming in the woodland garden up by the entrance, but I digress. So here, this bed, there is one strip of irrigation running through here. So this, and then of course the roses are, but this whole area right in here does not have drip irrigation on it. So what I'm going to do is down here in the front of the flower bed, down closest to kind of the sidewalk, is going to be the Blew My Mind Avovulus XL. This is a beautiful plant, nice true blue flowers that will pair gorgeous with my creams and my peaches and my yellows of my roses, and that blue will complement it quite nicely. Then what I'm going to do is come in and put a little bit of a smattering of the angel face perfectly pink angelonia. So that can kind of go a little bit back here in the back. It will not get too tall I had done some of the rock and salvia in here. It was Playing the Blues. I did that 2 years ago, and while it was stunning, it started to overtake my newly planted roses. So it was just a little bit too competitive, and so I am gonna go with the Blew My Mind and then the Perfectly Pink back there in the back. And then coming around here, honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do right here yet. This is going to be a game time decision. Last year we did that Artist Blue Ageratum. Oh my gosh, it was stunning. It was gorgeous. And then let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to do here in the back patio. The deck boxes are not yet planned because that will be a little bit of a game time decision. Proven Winners always sends us the new annual introductions for the coming year. So this spring we will get the annual introductions for 2025. They are always very generous with us and give us a gorgeous selection and quite a few numbers of those plants. So I like to reserve some areas where I can incorporate some of those new annuals into various parts of the gardens. So once we are given the green light to tell you what those 2025 annual introductions are going to be, then I can share with you the plans that I have for where I'm going to use them in the gardens. So once I get the green light, I will tell you about them, but we're going to be a little bit more patient and just hang on for that. So that will be a fun little project that we're going to do. I always love, this year I did it and it was phenomenal, and I will do it again this coming year, is that I use the Supertunia Mini Vista White all along the border here in front of the Sprinter Boxwoods and the camellias. They are just absolute amazing plants in this space. This space is extremely hot. Like, this is my hottest part of my whole entire garden probably. Not only because of the stone, but it was already hot before we put the stone here, but it literally gets the sun all day long. So it is very, very warm. The mini vistas, especially the white, we don't come out here a lot during the day in the summer because it is so extremely hot. When we're out here, it is late in the afternoon, if not early evening, until the dark, right? And so that white really reflects all of the landscape lighting in here. If we have a fire going, it just illuminates and is very bright. So they will come and be here in the front, and we will do that on both of the flower beds here with that Supertunia Mini Vista White. Very, very exciting for sure. So we will look forward to that, and then some of those new introductions in 2025. Now, coming along here, we're going to go back into the backyard beds. We have talked about this before. We just talked about it just a couple of minutes ago, that we're going to be hosting the wedding and the reception for Alyssa at the end of May. And so the wedding reception is going to take place here in the backyard. So we will have, there will be a nice big tent back here, and so that is where the reception is going to take place. The wedding is the end of May, which is an interesting time as far as the garden. Thankfully here in North Carolina, we'll just sit here and watch Brenna play with her stick. It is warm, but the true heat has not hit yet. So it's a perfect time for a wedding, especially a nice outdoor wedding. And we're going to plant, because Alyssa likes those cooler, those lighter colors. This whole area right here, there's nothing planted. This is all going to be for annuals. So we are going to use en masse, anywhere where we have holes and pockets where annuals can go. We're going to use the Campfire Marshmallow. This is a beautiful Biden that's like a very small daisy-like flower. Nice, pure white flower with a little bit of a yellow center. really nice and kind of low. So that'll be really good. It does great in cooler weather, so I can plant it nice and early in the season. So I can plant it in like, you know, early mid-April, so it'll be in the ground for a good month before the wedding. Can grow and be very, very happy. Does great in the cooler weather. And then we're going to do White Knight. White Knight is a sweet alyssum. For me, I have struggled with alyssums. They do great in the early season, right? But if you do not keep a ton of water on them, for that, in my experience, here in the South, unless they are sitting in a really damp area, when the heat of the summer hits, they just can't handle it. And so once they dry out, then it's hard to get them to come back. However, in the spring, early summer, my gosh, they're beautiful and they smell divine. So we're gonna pair the campfire marshmallow with the White Knight, because the White Knight is gonna be more low and spreading out, and the campfire marshmallow will be more upright. So with the wedding, that will be a beautiful color combination. And then when the heat hits, we'll take those out. Typically, I only like to do one planting, but because of the wedding, we're gonna do things a little bit differently. In here, like I said, this whole area right here is empty and ready for annuals. You might be able to see the sticks that I have. Hopefully Brenna won't take me out with her stick. The little sticks that are sticking up, this is Valentine's Crush Summerific Hibiscus. So Valentine's Crush is going to be a very upright columnar perennial hibiscus with beautiful red flowers. I am going to do the Luscious Royale Lemon Tart Lantana in here, and we're going to do it in mass. Lemon Tart is going to be about 2 feet tall, and if you know lantana, it loves the heat. It loves the humidity. It loves drier conditions. It is a huge pollinator attractor. The butterflies go nuts over it. All the beautiful critters that you want in your garden love lantana. So we're gonna do that in mass in certain areas here, definitely on that corner, because it will be gorgeous. Then when we have smaller areas, little shorter areas, say like right in here, right? This is where I'm gonna use those double ups again. So I can use double up white, I could do double up pink, or I could do double up red. So lots of options, but I like the low growing aspect right here so that it doesn't hide my perennial grasses or my sweet little Dr. Seuss tree, as I call it. This is a Hinoki Slender. Love this tree, and it loves this spot. So it is a really fun tree that does great. So we will continue whatever we do here, we will also do right there as well. So lots and lots and lots of fun options for sure, because we will have, it's just going to be a great season. With the wedding, we've got some other plans going on. Can't wait to share those with you. But I'm going to tease you. I'm not going to tell you yet what they are. We have something big that's going to be coming. So we're going to get this backyard and the whole gardens here just ready, right? So the wedding is a great thing. It's like anytime you can have a guest or a party, right? That's when things actually start to happen and projects get done, because there's good pressure to get those things done. So we're very grateful that Alyssa and Nick decided to get married here, because it's causing projects to get done, which I love. But I do know that I am going to be reworking these 2 backyard beds in late winter, early spring, because I'm not exactly happy with plant placement. Not necessarily, some of it's how the plants are performing, but also of it is just, I don't like the design. And I was the one that designed it, so I can say I don't like the design because it's my own fault. So we will fix that. Moving some plants, switching some things around. Of course, obviously, we will take you along for that ride and that journey to kind of just kind of show you, and I can explain to you the mistakes that I've made personally that I don't like, and then how we're going to fix them. But there's a lot going on. We have a load of beautiful annuals headed our way. And I think our plants for the nursery and the gardens arrives in mid-February. So you will be along for that ride as these sweet little babies come to us and we get them ready to put them into the gardens. Hopefully you found some of this fun and informative. Maybe you've gotten a couple of good ideas. I hope so. As always, we appreciate you. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.